Listeners, welcome to another evening of Straight Talk here on West Coast Radio 92.1. Again, we're here to provoke thought and also provoke a discussion on issues of national development. So you're free to call when we open the lines and just give your perspective of the topics on the discussion for our country. We all seek to have a better Gambia. We all seek to have better days ahead, to live in a country where we could really maximize our God-given potential, be the best that we have to be, to have a country where peace and tranquility prevail. And we believe one way to do that and to get there is by discussing, by speaking to ourselves, talking straight, speaking truth to ourselves, speaking truth to power. That's what will get us there. And as we always say, we just want to facilitate this discussion to bring us all in the country to be talking about the issues that affect us, because we believe in dialogue, in talking, we will be able to solve our issues. Mr. Njai, welcome once again to Straight Talk.
Good evening, listeners. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, indeed. It's always a pleasure to be here. I am John Charles Njai. And in the controls, we have our very own DJ Bombastic. He's been very, very faithful and he always looks forward to this time of Straight Talk. Well, Mr. Njai, the question on the table, obviously this is election year, registration is going on. Maybe we'll start with the registration process. But I think people are getting agitated unnecessarily because the whole registration thing is the process. There is the current registration going on. I would say it's more of a data collection, getting the people that are eligible to vote to register. But it's not the end. There is going to be a display of the voter roll or the draft voter roll, if you want to call it that way. There is also going to be the revising courts. But people are getting angry. Yes, foreigners are registering. We will not allow this to happen. We will not allow that to happen. For peace and sanity to prevail, what would be your advice to the general populace?
Well, before we advise the general populace, we need to advise the government. Clearly, the process of attestation has shown a gross failure of government in terms of documenting its own citizens.
Okay.
You can safely say that anyone who is 18 years of age in 2021 must have gone to a school, primary, secondary, or otherwise, right or wrong?
Well, not
no, assumption first.
Okay.
If for every 100 you can say that 80 will go to school.
Yeah.
So how come we're having people who are 18 years of age and the government has never captured their existence as individuals?
But then,
no, let me come.
No, let me just clear this thing of government. This is subsequent governments we are talking about.
We are not talking about administration. There is one government and there are different administrations.
Okay, fine.
So this is not about Adam Barrow, this is not about Yahya Jammeh, this is not about Jawla.
Yes.
It's a gross failure of the government of the Gambia.
Okay, good.
And we are living in 2021. Such a thing should not happen. Now, the reason why we have low possession of national identity cards is the cost entailed in owning a national ID card.
Okay.
What's the logic giving out a voter's card free of charge? I think we can all solve this problem once and for all. And the Americans will say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if it's broken, fix it. What we need to do, and before I answer your question, this is a proposal I want to put on the table. The government of the Gambia, since we are giving out voters card free of charge to minimum 800 to 900,000 or to 1 million Gambians, why don't we come up with national identity cards free of charge for the simple reason, if we have the national ID free of charge, we can codify it You will have your national identity number. After the national identity number, you will have maybe a 5 or 7 digit number that will show the constituent you are from. It will show the polling station you are from and the district you are from. Then now, that set of numbers is what immigration will print out and give to IEC as the Gambia voter roll. So one national document serves more than one purpose, and this brouhaha exercise of attestation, agitating people, enraging people will not happen. The problem with this country is we're too archaic. We still have hangover of colonial remnants that we refuse to get out, and that's why the leadership we need in Gambia is disruptive leaders. Leaders who are willing to walk away from the status quo and do things differently. And if you dare to be different, you dare to be bold. And we are yet to have a bold leader in this country.
Wow. Now to the issue of registration and the attendant problems and people getting upset and wanting to fight. What's the way out?
Once again, we have a problem. A lot of people are telling you, you have 1.5 months to register. It's a lie. I live in Fajara.
Yeah.
My polling station is yet to be mounted. We are hoping by the 15th they will be there.
Yeah.
So some people get discouraged and say, you know what, forget it. Because a lot of people were excited the first 2-3 days.
Yeah.
You pass the same place you go and vote all the time, and there is no one there, no table, no nothing.
But is that not just the complacency, the lethargy of the average Gambian? IEC has given out the registration data. We will be here on this day, between this day and this time. We have constraints, so we cannot be in every registration center at the same time. But we will be moving, and this is the schedule. So if you are interested as a Gambian to register, you should be diligent enough to say, okay, let me check, and then go, because
in Senegal, if you go and get a national identity card, equally you are given a voter's card.
Good.
Guess what? You need to make the process seamless, and you have to make it not to be cumbersome for the one looking for these documents. Mind you, Gambia, most of the people working are daily wages or entrepreneurs trying to make a living on their own.
Yeah.
Having to be on queues is an opportunity cost for their livelihood. So these are problems that the government must be mindful and need to be mindful, and that's why we need leaders who are willing and ready to think out of the box, to throw away all these archaic nonsense things that we, sorry for my language, sometimes I get emotional because stupidity, I cannot digest it. I'm very insensitive.
Yeah, but we are right now registering. What you are giving, they are very valid and good solutions or recommendations moving forward. But until then, we are now trapped with the issue of attestation, whether how it is done and all that. But I'm just saying, whether we like it or not, I mean, for this period, we only have what we have to go through the attestation for those that don't have. But it's the process of people and also wanting to maintain the peace that we so cherish. The attitude of whether it's the polling agent, whether it's the IEC, the general public, that I'm not going to have a foreigner register, but that foreigner has our national document.
You see, I spoke to a friend of mine, and I also made a comment today, that anyone who comes in with a valid document, albeit fraudulent, is not the responsibility of the IEC to scrutinize you.
Yeah.
Once again, failure of our system. And the failure is our documents are cheap and readily accessible to the highest bidder. Whether you white or you black, it doesn't matter. You will get it. Gambian passports are all over. Gambian national identity documents are all over the place. So that's why, yes, you're right, we cannot cry over spilled milk, because this is what we have to deal with now. Let's encourage Gambians to go out, come what may, and register. Because this coming election, as far as Nyanjai is concerned, is for two things. the restoration of the pride and the dignity of the Gambian. Why am I saying it's the restoration of the pride and the dignity of the Gambian? 22 odd years we suffered from brutality. We redeemed ourselves collectively as a nation. Only for some people to bring back the very people who enabled, masterminded, and facilitated the misery of the Gambian. Therefore, this election must be a verdict to the people that what we wanted wasn't done, and we will get what we want, come what may. And that's how our pride and dignity will be restored.
Interestingly, it's as if you read my mind or my thoughts. Some people keep saying that the current administration is doing everything in its power to get itself not be re-elected, in the sense that it's as if there are deliberate unforced errors, if I could put it that way, because we know the Commission of Inquiry, the Janney Commission, had said certain suppliers, certain people should not be into public service, should be disciplined, should be this and this should happen. But this government is cozying up to such people. This government is still awarding contracts to such people. I read with keen interest the issue of the Banyu Port, a piece of land that belongs to the country, leased out to a private entity, and now the port has to pay that private entity to be able to put that containers there. What is wrong with our government? What is wrong with our people? Haven't we learned anything from the Janney Commission? Are they not afraid, or is it just the issue of Mate? You people talk, say what you want to say, we will do what we want to do, and we don't give two hoots about what you think.
Well, Nyanjai is not looking to befriend anybody, and Nyanjai is not looking to be accepted by anyone, but Nyanjai will speak his mind. What I am seeing in this country, especially these past 24 months, it's becoming worrisome. I drove past the Bond Road.
Okay.
I saw a container terminal. This is a few months back. Later on, I've realized the container terminal has been expanded. Come to find out, it's owned by a private individual, and the land was allocated by the government, and now the ports are paying rent to that private individual. What nonsense is that? What kind of a country and people are we? You know, there is one thing happening in this country, and it will stop, come what may. They can get away with it today, but we are documenting everything. And the saddest part, if you look at the Janney Commission, Volume 8, some of these contractors are listed there that they should not partake in government contracting and procurement. And yet still they're the favorite sons of this administration. Is it that's why I say that we need to restore our pride and dignity as a people. And it's not about supporting political party X or supporting political party Y. It's about supporting the interest of the nation, and the interest of the nation must come first. The word public servant are people who are selfless and put public, meaning country, before self. Yeah. The group of people we have there today, it's all about them, and they have forgotten about the greater good.
So we can call them self-servants. Well,
exactly.
And again, this is why a lot of people are skeptical that if the TRRC report comes out and the recommendations are given out, this administration will not be in a position to do much about it, because it has failed to act on the Janney Commission report, and it is going to do the same to the TRRC.
But fortunately for us, we don't need this administration to do anything about the TRRC, because Gambia is a signatory to international protocols. We can make people sitting in this country international criminals. We can put bench warrants on them, and we can take them to courts outside of the Gambia. Therefore, come what may, justice will be done and justice will be served. What we can do much about is the economic gangsterism we have seen in the past, and not much has been done, and also rewarding economic vandals and criminals and facilitators of crime against our coffers. That is what hurts many Gambians.
Yeah, it indeed hurts, but again, the reality is the long arm of the law will always catch up with these people.
Sooner or later.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just crazy for anybody to think that in this day and age you could just abuse your country's economy and get away with it, because there will be the day of reckoning.
No, you see, I'm sorry, once again, the problem of this country, it's not the uneducated who've been taken for a ride. The problem of this country is the minority educated elite who facilitate the plundering of this country. Okay. And that's why we are where we are.
Well, but again, you know, I was opening a workshop today, and I asked myself, or I was telling members of civil society, that maybe as a nation, we are also too hard on ourselves. Because you look at this country, what we have achieved in 4 or 5 years. Yes, we could have achieved much more. But once in a while, is it not okay to look back and say, guys, really, the mere fact that we could have a program like this, you could talk freely, the mere fact that people can query, people can criticize, people can voice out their opinions, the mere fact that government can take a step and people make noise and they go back, the mere fact that the Supreme Court is coming up with decisions against the administration, against certain decisions of the administration, are these not strides in a budding democracy beginning to move forward as a nation, that once in a while we can look back on and get some glimmer of hope that the future can only be better for Gambia?
I say no. We gave ourselves what we have.
But we have.
And we, allow me, the freedoms you are enjoying today, me and you, is a collective endeavor by all. So, no,
I agree.
So therefore, that's what we, but equally, the misery.
I'm not saying
but allow me.
No.
I understand.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just saying, that's something we ask for. We change the status quo.
So it's close to us.
No, come, let me finish. We change the status quo.
I agree.
And the mere fact that I can sit here today and say what I want about President Barrow and he won't be able to do much about it because I am protected by law, my constitution. Allow me. Yeah. But equally, our lethargic attitude towards the broad day robbery of our public coffers, it's equally the problem of us, and we are letting it go by. So therefore, what I'm trying to accomplish here, Mr. Jai, is that yes, we have given ourselves so much, but yes, we're also allowing ourselves to watch by while people plunder our resources unabated.
You know, Gambians, yes, there is the aspect of complacency and lethargy on the part of the Gambian. But don't you think that Gambians are just sitting down silently and saying, Bembespa, until that day, until December 4th.
Unfortunately,
do whatever you want to do. December 4th will come. We are patiently waiting because we know December 4th we could bring change. Don't you think that is something that needs to be factored, that Gambians are waiting for that opportunity to state their dissent?
There's an overwhelming number of Gambians who are silent and disgruntled.
Okay.
But equally, there's a large chunk of Gambians who are nothing but mere merchants of fortune. Foot toy nyutak.
Okay.
Gomuin dara, lurut personal self-interest and self-perpetuation.
Will that be in the majority or the minority?
Well, I will not say they're in the minority or majority, but what I have seen, looking at numbers of Gambians who would have laid their lives on the line for the so-called Dr. Jammeh, are now doing the same thing. So I think collectively as a society, the fundamentals of our social fabric are sick. Maslaha. Ordinarily is wrong, but you don't want to upset the status quo. And that's why when people see John Charles Jai out there, you are doing a good job. But they know what ought to be done. They don't want to do it, but they won't mind you doing it. So the problem in this country most Gambians outsource their social deliverables for a few to do, and that heavy lifting takes a toll on a burden. What we need is a collective endeavor for nation building, and this collective endeavor is for us to look at people in the eyes, especially public officials and people who collide with public officials, to take what's not theirs and that belongs to the greater good.
But again, I think the reality of life is that it's only the minority that will do the heavy lifting for the majority and keep pushing until the majority see light at the end of the tunnel.
Majority will never see light. They will see opportunity, because all of Jai Mune will sorteti amboram.
But they will see.
Allow me.
They will still see
But allow me. Lu sorteti amboram. I dare you go to Barrow's cabinet today and look at the people sitting there, whether they have done any heavy lifting when Gambia needed them, and the answer is no. Matter of fact, some of them were the very people who enabled the misery of the Gambia.
Sir. But again, people look at opportunity. Could it be that Gambians...
That's not an opportunity.
No, I'm saying, could it be that Gambians are waiting to see opportunity in an individual? Opportunity for change, opportunity for progress. Like we call for maybe a government, there are people that call for a government of national unity. Somebody that is a unifier. Somebody that is not partisan. Well, you could be partisan, but the greater good, the public interest, so overrides your personal interest that you don't mind to even disagree with your political grouping. But you look at the country. This is my country. I love my country. I extend my hands to every Gambian to come on board. Let's build. Are Gambians not beginning to look for that leader? Because somebody, I was thinking, somebody asked, so how come we have all these political parties? And then it dawned on me that could it be that the reason we have so many people coming and wanting to run for the presidency, is it that we have just lost faith in leadership?
No.
That to the point that people are saying, well, I don't trust anybody to lead me. Let me take
You've asked two things.
Okay.
One, about the leaders, and two, the plethora of political parties.
Yeah.
There are no more than 6 political parties in the Gambia. The rest are guests wanting to get a ticket to the table.
But they are legally registered.
Allow me. If you're registered, you need structures. If you have structures, you need to function.
Yeah.
These political parties have seen that in the past election, people have used that ticket to get to places. Yeah. So now people think I can position myself to be a spoiler, and when I want to become a spoiler, someone will call me and say, hey, put the brakes, come, this is what's in it for you. On the other hand, if I were to run in this election and I happen to win and be the president of the republic, I will extend an olive branch to every political party in the Gambia for one reason and one reason alone. This administration has failed Gambians in reuniting us, stitching our social fabric, and righting the wrongs of the past. Yeah. Therefore, election 2021 should be a reset button to do what we were supposed to do and didn't do in 2017. Bring the diverse peoples of this country together. Whether you're from Fonyi, whether you're from Congo, whether you're from Badibu, whether you're from APRC, whether you're from NPP, let's come together for one term and say this country has been divided because of personal interest from 1994 or even before 94 to date. Here is our opportunity to structurally put this country in a sound footing by designing a blueprint for the ideal Gambia we want to live and want to inherit or pass on to the next generation. Having said that, it's an all-encompassing government where everyone will have a say, and it will be a bottom-up approach by going to the very vested stakeholders, the general public, for consultation on all major issues of governance. That's the only way Gambia will heal. That's the only way the social fabric of this country that is so torn, divided, and convoluted will be fixed.
I can hear some of our listeners ask, you have such such a vast knowledge or a reservoir of ideas and solutions. Why is Nyanjai not contesting for the presidency 2021?
It's sad. I wish I were not a Gambian. At first I will apologize because a lot of people will feel offended. It's sad. And I wish the ambition I have, I was born in a different country than the country of ours. And I will tell you why. Why? People in this country, when it comes to politics, are not judged on what they bring to the table, but on tribal affinity and otherwise. It's rather unfortunate. Nyanjai is just not a perfect mix for the Gambian political environment, because I am a disruptor and I have no place in this place. The only thing I can do, I can help someone by being a back office guy to come up with ideas, strategy and policies, but I will not be in the forefront. Not that I don't believe in my country. I believe in my people, but it will take a generation. For my generation,
the mindset.
My generation is sad. And I will start with my very own PSI, my Mboka, my Ma, Salum Head. I go to Dawda Jawara, Protectorate's People's Party. I go to IBM Gaba Jamumpa, Muslim Alliance. Never have I heard we had a party that promoted the ideals of the collective good, irrespective of tribe, religion, socio-economic.
But you see, you've made that, and I have done some little research, and not because he's my grandfather. Maybe that was the issue that people felt, but his party was the Democratic Party.
But who were the patrons? Let's be honest also. No. But forget about the name.
There was no. The patrons, obviously, for everything there must be a patron.
No, but who were the patrons?
I'll give you an example, because it was the elders in Christikunda that chose him to represent them, and he was Christian. But Muslims had confidence in him and elected him to serve them in council. But I'm just saying that, look, let me get back to your point that you want to be at the back.
I don't want to be at the back. I am more effective right now being a policy formulator for someone. And for the simple fact, now, see, I am a realist.
But let me learn.
I want to finish this point. I am a realist, and my realism tells me, Nyanjai, wake up. The country you live in today, if you put your name out there, I'm sorry, they don't hate you. It's not about hate. It's about what they identify with.
I agree.
And I believe it will take us at least one more generation to change the dynamics. Therefore, Nyanjai wants to do what Nyanjai does best, and he is the best at doing it. So I will be a back office guy, formulating policies and strategies for people that are more likely to be accepted by mainstream society. And it's not defeatist. I understand my dynamics.
I agree with you. My point is, if you don't have a leader that is willing to be challenged by somebody like you, willing to be provoked, willing to be inspired by somebody like you, your efforts will always be frustrated. Because you come up with all these good ideas, and common sense would tell any intelligent or well-meaning leader that why not just do some of these things? There is nothing to lose. You have a port in Banjul given to a private individual. Why in the whatever would anybody get up, give government land to an individual, and then the government has to pay back, as it were, to an individual? These things are just a deliberate messing up, or just deliberate acts where corruption can just thrive.
Because we haven't tried hard to build institutions. We have tried so hard to build strong men. And the law of discretion is what applies, not a process-driven procedures and policy.
Wow. Well, listeners will be opening the lines shortly when the technical guy is on seat. But the interesting thing, and the reason I'm saying this, because a lot of people with noble ideas, a lot of people, well-meaning Gambians, would want to come on board. But just like you, I think it's PLO, Professor Lumumba, that said that he campaigned, using all the knowledge he had in his hometown or something for one seat. he spent days and months on the campaign trail. And then this other politician came with money, and just a few days to the elections gave everybody a bag of rice, and the people just voted for that guy. And that Africans don't vote for people with ideas. They can see crooks, but just because they are fed for today, they feel...
No, but it's not African, it's the evolution. You see, somehow I may be impatient, but it's the evolution of the society. Some societies, today, if you ask me, I'll tell you, Gambia is time traveling, but instead of forward, today Gambia is living 1978 in terms of global standards. Senegal is living minimum 2011, 2012. If you look at the youth of Senegal and their position in terms of asking for what's theirs and the accountability they want to put on politicians, you can tell that they're not where we are. So collectively, I believe my country is somewhere between 78 and 1980 in terms of political mindset.
But again, you've raised a very important point. The issue that maybe we are a bit impatient. And obviously, we should be impatient, we should be angry with where we are. But again, democracy is a messy process, it's a difficult process. We are just, as it were, having our voice. So comparing Gambia to Senegal, Senegal has always had that environment where they could articulate, say whatever they want. We just have 4 years where because for 22 years we have been silenced. We have been, whatever you could call it, we've been put, we've been handcuffed and chained. No. But now that we can speak, it's 4 years. And so you really cannot compare Gambia and Senegal.
No, I have to disagree here, and I will tell you why.
Yeah, why?
I am an ardent critic of Yaya Jammeh. But the problem of muzzling, stifling, and muting the Gambian didn't start with Yaya Jammeh.
Okay.
You have Edward Francis Small. You had Emi Jallow, prominent Gambian unionists.
Okay.
President Jawara stifled the growth of unionism in Gambia. That's a known fact. And that was way before Yaya Jammeh, mind you. So what we need to understand, our democratic culture, independence to 94, has really set the Gambian civic activism backwards. Our right to protest, our right to complain. Do you know a lot of people, they call Madi Jobate, Madi Westfield Jobate. People look at me and tell me, every little thing you want to complain, it's my right, I have it. And you know what? Our presidents, our leaders, be it imams or otherwise, we should never allow them to be comfortable, because once they get comfortable, they lose the score and they lose the script.
Yeah. Well, listeners, the number to call is 446-1193. 446-1193, you could call and give us your perspective on the topics of discussion. We are talking about Gambia, we are talking about the nation, the land that we love. We're talking about peace, progress for our nation going forward. How do we move from where we are talking about issues of registration, talking about the administration, the unforced errors of the administration, where we are and where we could be. Interesting discussion, Mr. Jai, interesting perspectives you've given us here. But again, Mr. Jai, you said, yes, we gave ourselves this, we fought for this. How do we sustain the momentum? Rather than going back, how do we move from 1978 that you've put us to come to at least, into the 2000s, for some amount of change that we desire? But let's take this call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk. Yes, sir. Discipline. Yeah. Thank you very much. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but I want to answer what you asked before we move on. And that is, our biggest problem is our political leaders have always thought that development is the hard side of development, i.e. roads, etc., etc. The first fundamental thing in development is the soft side of development, the human index, our health. our education, our access to opportunity, i.e., economic opportunity, social upward mobility, etc., etc. That's where you build human beings. That's where you build character, and that's where you build a patriot. After that, we can worry about roads, etc., etc. Let us build a Gambian. Okay. Once we build a Gambian, you will know what's the value in your citizenship, and once you understand that, you will not allow yourself to shortchange your country.
Again, this gentleman we just talked about the indiscipline in our country. And I read somewhere that Singapore, when they wanted to,
lick on you.
There was the issue where you falter, you go against the law, you'll be flogged publicly, and there's the issue of, I think, a minister that was paid for to travel on holiday by a private entity. The day he landed at the airport, he was sent straight to prison to teach others but you see, we are in this era of human rights. If the government wanted to institute public flogging, because
but you don't have to do public flogging.
But some of these petty crimes.
No, let me tell you, we don't need public flogging. What we need in this country, get on the traffic and you happen to have a log jam. Guess what happens? All the government pajeros will take the side road, and legitimately they believe it's their right in their minds. They believe, hey, we are holier than thou, and we are more equal than you, therefore we can...
So that's part of the indiscipline.
So the indiscipline, we always looking at the small fish. I was reading Poliso, that they caught a thief with a sheep in Banjulunding or whatever. I said, what a chick. You know how much the public is losing every day through GRA and through other government offices just by mere procurement and others? Go after those criminals. That's where it matters the most. Not petty larceny.
The internal audit report, I thought the IGP is supposed to be acting on that.
Well, once again, enforcement.
All right. The indiscipline we're talking about. Okay, sorry, caller. Well, please, the number to call is 446-1193. Sorry, we are talking a bit more than we should, but you could call and we will hear what you have to say. But again, the issue of indiscipline, Mrs. Jai, keeps, in traffic, the impatience and the indiscipline that we see from drivers, from people in authority is sad.
Social
and we
fabric.
are not giving any example to our younger people.
Social fabric. You see, a society need references, just like you have in the back of an encyclopedia. You read something, you have citations.
Okay, let's take this call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk. Good evening, caller. Okay.
Just like in the back of the encyclopedia, you have references. But what Gambia has done, we have not killed, we have belittled the people that should have been societal references.
Good evening, caller. Welcome to Straight Talk.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. Welcome to Straight Talk.
Well, for last night we had the 4 sides of racism coming.
Yeah.
No way.
One was the action of...
Yes,
and,
exactly. This gentleman was just about to talk about Nawek, and exactly that's what has happened. You see, Nawek has answered to his prayer.
Wow.
So this is the problem we are faced with. This is the Gambia we live in, and this is our reality, and this is a reality that is so far below what we expect as people. Mr. Njai.
But interestingly, Mr. Njai, Nawek has been around for I don't know how long. Why is it that every year we should have this issue with Nawek when it fails?
Well, unfortunately, we can go ahead. Sorry guys, we were off air because of the blackout.
All right, sorry. I think this caller, you don't need to go far. The people you're talking about, the institution you're talking about has just shown itself. Nawek has just gone off, sorry for that break. But it is just what we're talking about. How come for all these years that Nawek has been in existence, every time that we get to the rains, we have this problem. And other countries do have rains. But do they have these issues that anytime it rains, the electricity goes off?
You see, power generation, if people understand it, is divided into components: generation, transmission and distribution, and billing. Our transmission and distribution network needs a lot, and a lot of work ought to be put in it. But the problem is corruption, flaws in procurement, has been Gambia's biggest nightmare. But what we can do to change what we are seeing is to totally privatize NAWEC in total, everything except the water for a start, because water is not profitable.
Yeah.
Then people will come up with their generators, and we have IPPs, independent power producers. These independent power producers will have a grid, one, shared by everybody. NAWEC will only handle the billing. And come end of month, they give everybody their money and keep their margin. Then we will have what you call service level agreement with these power producers. If they go off so often, they get penalized by the regulator. That's the only way this country can have effective electricity and affordable electricity.
Well, sometimes it's difficult to know. I mean, and maybe
we lack a leader. Period.
I think that's why I would agree with you that we are in 1978.
Mr. Njai, let's just say that the Gambia lacks a leader, and we need a disruptor. Someone who will come and don't continue where the last left off, but disrupt the process and systems.
Well, are Gambians ready to bring in a disruptor, or are Gambians comfortable with what they see? December 4th, Gambians will decide on...
Well, I have decided. That much I know, and it will be everybody except who is.
Well, you are one in the 1 million votes that are expected. Well, but I mean, I think we need to have this.
And that 1 million number, I have a problem with it.
I do.
I will tell you why.
Why? Up or down?
Downward, and I will tell you.
You mean it's more than what we are expecting?
It should be less. In Gambia.
I agree.
In Gambia, when Yaya Jammeh said we had over 890,000 registered voters, that was a flawed figure. And I will tell you why it's flawed. Fundamentally, you need to understand one thing. Kids that are of 08 to 17 form minimum 35% of the population.
Yeah.
So 35% of 2 million is 700,000 who will not be eligible to vote.
Yeah.
Then now you go to the upper limit. People who are 100 and over, maximum 3% of the population. 3%, 60,000. So you are 760,000 who are not eligible. Voter registration is a voluntary exercise. Yeah. So now this voluntary exercise, you're not taking account of Gambians that have traveled, Gambians that died, Gambians that are sick. So give and take, we have a potential of 1,400,000 Gambians who are eligible to be on the roll. And out of that, there is no way we have 800,000 in a voluntary registration.
Then, I mean, the other thing is you're not even taking into consideration foreign nationals.
Exactly.
The Senegalese that are in Gambia. That percentage, I've said to people, especially to civil society, that this 1 million that IEC has
750,000.
I don't agree with it, because if you look at, you're saying those under 18, we look at those that have died, how many youths have traveled out of the country, how many people just have been frustrated and exiled or whatever that are not coming back, how many people have died, and the non-Gambians that are in our system. We cannot have
750 to 820,000
registered voters. I think it will be very, very, very much.
Well, Yaya Jammeh used to call them Jinei.
Well, the number to call is 446-1193, 446-1193. If you are there and you're following the program, you can always call and give us your take on what we're discussing, or issues that you feel are close to your heart and we need to take into consideration. Also, to just remind all the listeners that the first week of registration has been completed. We are into the second week. Please, if you have not registered, go out there, get your voter's card. Whether you were planned to vote or not, get a voter's card. Because, you know, Mr. Jai, you know, Gambians have this thing that, you know, man, this smoke one time. But what if in November Kulatoi comes up?
Give it to Mickey Mouse. Well, it's a right, and that right we must exercise. You see, democracy comes with rights, and these rights come with responsibilities. And one of the fundamental responsibilities of a citizen is to go out and get his or her voice counted in the dispensation that they live under.
Yeah. Whether your candidate wins or not. The mere fact that you go out there to take what is yours, your right to vote, the mere fact that you do that, I think you are on the right path. We have a call? Okay. I hope the NAWEC has not disrupted the calls, but I think this is important for us, Mr. Jai, to continue to call on Gambians to go out, register, to observe the process, also to document as much as they can. I've seen videos of alleged children registering. I've seen videos of people moving from one place, allegedly moving from one place to the other place. I think those that kind of documentation is necessary to be handed over to the devices.
Now, what we need this time around, and it's not late, for double counting, because we were using indelible ink.
Yeah.
But criminals are always ahead of the game. They have ways of taking it out.
Yeah.
Why on earth, 2021 Gambia, we refuse to be technologically compliant? A simple biometric scanner.
I think they do.
No. There's one thing having it, but come day of the election, even without my card, they should just ask me, put your tongue, boom, on the screen, Yang Jai comes out, give me my pebble, and I go do my thing.
But for the registration process, this registration exercise, they have a fingerprint.
But what is the use if you take my fingerprint and you will not use it to verify who I am come the day of election?
No, but they use it to verify, to make sure you have not registered twice.
My friend, that's not the purpose. The purpose...
But in this case, that is why they have it.
Okay, well, that's the control, but I'm talking about making it easy, cutting the lines. This cuts the lines, because now you have to look at the road. Okay, that's the number. I just come, put my thumb on the scanner, on the screen, Yang Jai comes up, you go take care of your business. That is what a progressive country should do. We are not progressive people.
We are still in 1978.
1978.
Says Mr. Yang Jai.
Absolutely.
Well, if you agree with him, you could call. If you disagree, you can also call. Whether we are in 1978 as a nation or we have gone ahead of 2021 and into 2022, it's a question that all of us need to answer, because indeed the world is going ahead, everybody is thinking ahead, and I think any progressive leadership should really look ahead.
I will tell you what, I'm just deviating. Gambia is a tourism destination, right or wrong?
Right.
Our tourism market has faltered significantly because of COVID.
Yeah.
Why is it that our government cannot invest $3 per Gambian for 2 shots? Each shot is $6 for 2 shots, $3 each.
Yeah.
Why is it that our government cannot take from our national coffers and make sure Gambia reaches herd mentality? You know what that does? It gives confidence to the would-be tourists, because the tourists are already inoculated. But they will check the statistics of the country. How many people in Gambia have taken COVID vaccines? And that will reduce our tourist arrival.
Yeah.
So government of the Gambia should not wait for free vaccination. We should have invested our own money in making sure Gambia gets herd immunity. Countries like Mauritius, they are paying for their own vaccination because they rely on tourism. So they want to satisfy the would-be tourists coming to a safe zone.
Well, there is also the talk that even if you have the money, the vaccine is not readily available.
Well,
but at least have the money in hand.
Look, that's up until recently when the Indian crisis happened. That disrupted a lot.
Okay.
But if you would have planned this a year and a half ago, you would have been on the queue by now. We love to be beggars. And we have leaders who don't understand begging has no dignity and it robs away the pride of the human being. Let us live with what we have, and we have enough to be self-sufficient and independent people. Well,
government of the Gambia, if you are listening, please, I think it is important that we don't continue to beg, but to be able to be self-reliant when it comes to issues of health. Well, we just want to apologize, listeners. We have a problem with the switch box. I think NAWEC's current fluctuation has killed it. Unfortunately, sorry if you cannot get in. The box is totally off. So I'm sure some of you are trying, but not being able to get through. It's just a technical hitch caused by the power fluctuation.
That's what the white man will say. We are third world people with first world problems. We want solutions that are first world, but the nature of our third world livelihood refuses to up our game and standards. Hence the reason we're so backward. I'm sorry.
Well, this is difficult to take because these are the current realities we face. But we keep saying, do not lose hope. Let's keep looking to a bright future. Let's look at what little gains we have and see how we can move forward. Mr. Njai, your last word before we close.
Well, all is not lost. Some will say that Nyang Jai complains a lot, but in complaining, you put people to check. But I encourage all Gambians of age to go out, register, and make sure come December they exercise the fundamental right guaranteed by law to them. That's the only way we can effect change, and that's the only way we can show our sovereigns, starting from the president to our MPs, that we the people reign supreme. We are because they are because we are. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Njai. Well, go out, register, make sure you have your voter's card, whether you decide to vote on election day or not. But it's also good to exercise your right to choose your leader. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that your leader has to win, but the mere fact that you are Gambian and you go out there to exercise your right, I think that is part of restoring the dignity of the Gambian. Let's keep hope alive. Let's look for a brighter future. Let's look towards a better Gambia. It is possible. As Nyang Jai says, maybe a disruptor will come here against December and be ready to change and take Gambia in the right direction. Till we come your way next week, have a pleasant evening. God bless you, and God bless the Republic of the Gambia.